And I was actually in a completely different industry. I was touring the world, playing drums for some just really great artists. And one day I come home from one of these tours. We had a little break, and we had a family friend over our house, and he just happened to be a loan officer. And obviously, realtors work really close with lenders and loan officers. So he talks to me about investing my money in real estate. And being so young, I was, what's like, what's real estate? I don't know what's investing in real estate. Anyway, he just talked to me about getting my license, and so I did, but I didn't really practice real estate until about 2 years after that, just because I was still touring and doing that. And then, so basically, after 2 years, I joined one of the top producing teams here in California, in Ventura County, California. And then 2 years after that, I left the team and I joined Sotheby's here in Los Angeles, and started my own little group. And then I also am now the director of technology at Sotheby's, which is basically doing webinars and seminars on all real estate tech. And I also do real estate marketing consultations, marketing and social media.
Yeah, I think that's super unique. So if we have both agents listening in and admins, David kind of sits on both sides of that. So a good little diverse perspective for everyone. Yeah. So, all right. So you're on your team now, and as I think most people would agree, the past year or so has been a little bit wild,
Yeah.
a little bit chaotic,
Yeah.
between a little bit of a global pandemic, and then also for a lot of folks right now, we're also in a crazy seller's market. And
Yeah.
so, what have you done that has lined you up for success throughout all of this?
Yeah, I mean, seriously, it's probably been we have our office meetings on Tuesdays and Wednesdays at our brokerage, and we were talking about this just yeah, Tuesday yesterday, and it's definitely one of the most aggressive sellers markets that we've seen here for sure. And for me, I guess the most important factor is just making sure that I'm providing exceptional customer service and care to my clients. So, I was telling one of my colleagues this, like to the clients that need to sell during this pandemic, great, let's sell. And to the clients that need to purchase a property, perfect, let's purchase. But to all the in between, past clients and potential clients, and my farm, I'm huge on farming. I let them know that I'm just there for them. So whatever they need, I always try to be a resource, especially during these abnormal times. So just being there and going back to the fundamentals of customer service.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's a big differentiator. And because, of course, I have to ask, how has ActivePipe played into being able to be such a resource?
Yeah. So ActivePipe, just happens to be, it plays a significant role in my marketing, right? I have all these different tools and things that I use, right? Different techniques, but ActivePipe definitely has a big role. So, like I said, becoming a resource to my farm and to my past clients and etc. I constantly educate my entire database via ActivePipe. So about all things related to real estate and COVID-19, right? The pandemic. So I'm able to help educate my exactly just like what you're pulling up now. So, I put together articles and I can put together little newsletters that through trial and error, I know if my database likes it or not. So I'm just there providing them with knowledge about real estate and COVID.
I think that's really unique too, or like that strategy can be used and is really smart because you're already delivering value before they're even your direct client, right? Because
Correct.
you're already educating them and providing updates constantly, which is yeah, you're being a great resource for them. So I'm
Correct.
just scrolling through David's weekly newsletters here to kind of give you perspective of what he often does here.
Yeah, and you know what? You can get there's so many different places you can grab articles. I used to make my own, so some of them that you may click on, I've written. Some of them I've obviously, I've picked up from a third party, or one of those subscription-based websites where you pay a monthly fee and they provide you with blogs. There's a plethora of websites out there like that. So I do a little bit of both. Sometimes when I'm in the mood for writing, I'll write my own. Sometimes when I just want to kind of grab something and send it out, I'll do that as well.
Yeah, I think that's smart. And just out of curiosity, how much time would you say that it takes you to throw together one of these weekly newsletters?
So, so I like to do all my emails for the week on Sundays. So it depends on how many emails I'm sending that week. But for example, that article you're on right there
Mhm.
probably took me, honestly, 6 minutes, maybe 6, 7 minutes. No, no joke.
Yeah.
That's the thing about ActivePipe. It's plug and play. You just drag and drop and fill it in. Like it's so easy.
Mhm.
And that's why we use it at Sotheby's because it's so user friendly. Anybody can use it. Doesn't matter it doesn't matter how technologically advanced or challenged you are. ActivePipe is so simple. The UI, the user interface, and the user experience is just so fluid. Plug and play, drag and drop, fill it in, and you're done. So I've now actually trained a lot of our agents uh, to create exactly what you're looking at,
Mhm.
basically in 10 minutes, just like that. Literally drag and drop and fill it in. Um, and if you're writing your own article, sure, that's going to take some time, right? You're going to have to sit down and write what you want to talk about. But if you're grabbing articles from third parties, and you have the permission to, obviously, then literally copy paste, drag and drop, fill it in, done in 6 minutes. I have all my contacts already segmented and organized, so I know who's going to receive what and when.
Music to my ears. Everyone listening, I promise, we're not holding a gun to his head. This is all real. None of this
I mean,
is,
like,
I
yeah,
promise.
look at all
Um,
those emails. I mean, and you can,
yeah.
of course, I'm always every week there's a new one, and as as also being a part of the Sotheby's, admin side, like you mentioned,
Mhm.
I share some of these with my agents. Agents, some agents that don't, know maybe how to write articles or just don't know where to find good articles. I share them. I share my articles with them, and sometimes I'll add a little personal note to there so it can look a little bit more personable. And then I show them how they can kind of customize it to fit whoever they're sending it to. And then they kind of get the hang of it and they stop asking me for articles because now they know how to pull it up for themselves. So,
Yeah, independence is like the ultimate when you finally completed the education. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, okay, so tell me, you do all of this fairly regularly, right? And you're
Yeah.
staying in touch fairly regularly. What are the type of results that you see from this? Is it worth it?
Is it worth it? Oh, yes. Without a doubt, it is absolutely, absolutely worth it. And here's the thing, and this is what I tell to all our agents. Um, like, just, be patient with yourself, just like anything else in life that you want to master. Let's say you want to master ActivePipe. You just got to keep doing it, You can't break it, so just play around with it. And the more you do it, the better you'll get, and the more efficient you'll get. And when you kind of get the hang of it, honestly, it's fun just designing these emails. And is it worth it? Absolutely. I've been staying in touch with my entire farm, all my clients, since we signed on with ActivePipe, right? So, and especially because I used to go door knocking in my farms. And as soon as COVID hit, we're not allowed to door knock. I'm not gonna go door knocking in my farms anymore. So what's the next best thing? I don't want to cold call,
Yeah.
right? Even though let's say a majority of my farm knows who I am, I don't want to cold call. I don't really have I don't have the patience to cold call anymore. So the next best thing is sending them emails,
Yeah.
whether it's a weekly base on a weekly basis, bi-weekly, once a month, whatever it is. It's just a great way to keep in touch with all your clients.
Database. Yeah. So, okay, you had mentioned that you segment your audiences and you're sending some things to some groups of people and certain emails to other groups of people.
Hmm.
Um, Contacts tend to be, and contact management like that, segmenting tends to
Yes.
be a challenge for a lot of our newbies, especially at ActivePipe. It's like the
Hmm.
one hurdle that they have to get across. So, do you have advice for starting to segment your audiences? And again, do you think you've seen better results because you're segmenting?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So here, this is something that maybe agents here will can relate to. There's a book, I always reference this book too. There's a book called The Million Dollar Agent by Gary Keller, and he also talks about uh, organizing your database. So I believe the best way to organize your database is similar to what Gary Keller says, which is your current sellers, your current buyers, right? Very obvious. Your family, you know who your family, you know who your family members are, your friends, and your farms if you have a farm, and of course your past clients. You can also add another tag to organize your top referrers. So these are clients that provide you the most referrals year over year. And some advice to go with this is don't worry about organizing every single person you've ever interacted with. If you just focus on the top six, the top seven uh, segments or tags, whatever you want to call them, you can manage your contacts more quickly and begin to send emails more quickly,
Mhm.
right? So I
And
send, yeah,
was your strategy, you happen to use a CRM, so it's a little bit more unique, but do
sure.
you, when you first went through this organization process, or and when you help onboard new users as well, do you normally recommend, sit down, take 2 hours and knock it out, or do you like the strategy of do a little bit at a time?
It's, I guess, what works for the agent. For me, like, I don't know if it's like my ADHD or whatever, but when I do it, I gotta do it. Like, I gotta do it now. So,
Yeah.
but there are agents that I help out that I encourage them to do 10, 20 contacts a day. So whether you have an integrated CRM with ActivePipe, like I do, or if you're just using ActivePipe, and you have your database within ActivePipe, you can literally do it alphabetical order. Start with the A's, then do the B's, then do the C's if you wanted to do it that way.
Mhm.
Or if you want to do it the other way, like I said earlier, you already know who your current client, your current sellers and buyers are. Get those out of the way, segment those right away. And your past clients, go back 3, 4, 5 years, however far back you want to go. And then the rest you can, do a little bit here and there. Over time, you'll realize after a month of looking back, you'll be like, wow, I've accomplished so much. My entire data, a good amount of my database is now organized. So whatever works for the agent.
Yeah. And then similarly for our newbies,
Hmm.
or folks who are just now, maybe they've been with us, but they've never really set like a overall strategy. Um, as far as campaigns to get started, like your set of these are the four things that I always do. What would you recommend?
As far as campaigns go, oops,
Or just email blasts as well. Like, do you like, just listed, you
yeah,
obviously your weekly newsletter, and then I think you have a welcome campaign maybe running at all times.
yes, okay, yes, that's a good one. Doing of course, I love doing just listed and just sold, right? Those are the most, I guess, those are the those are the most impactful because they're your listings, right? I
Mhm.
just listed this and I just sold this. Um, Here's another one that I encourage all agents to do.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, One great feature of ActivePipe is having the IDX, right? Having the MLS integrated with ActivePipe, which is the whole point of why ActivePipe is so great. in comparison to some other email marketing programs. Okay. So I think one of the best emails or campaigns that agents can do is sending to your farms just listed and just sold listings in those neighborhoods, right? Um, uh, you can do it the first or the second and the fourth week of the month.
Mm-hmm.
So newly listed and recently sold to your farms. And again, I consult over like 50 agents, and I can virtually guarantee you that this has the highest open rate and the lowest unsubscription rate out of the many emails and campaigns that I've created, right? Because every homeowner loves to know that they're rich and that they're in $1 million neighborhood. So sending them listings and sales in their neighborhood will always keep them engaged. And that's actually that's actually one of those emails where you can set it and forget it. This one you only have to create once, and then you can repeat the schedule every 2 weeks, every month, whatever you want. Set
Mm-hmm.
it, forget it. I mean, and that's just passive lead generating, passive prospecting right there. Very, very simple to do.
I think you have a really great strategy and idea there too, especially in this time when we'll all take a listing if we can, right? And
Yeah,
so I think really targeting like your particular area like that is really smart. And you could do it both with what's listed right now, or on the other hand, if as long as you're not in a non-disclosure state, you can do it on
exactly.
the sold side too. So you're
Exactly.
demonstrating value in information, but also you're demonstrating the value of their own home, which is kind of
Right.
really smart. So
Yeah, yeah,
thanks.
it's great. It's great. And agents love it. Like the agents in our office, I've basically helped a good amount of them set that up, and it's on a repeat schedule, you know. And they don't have to worry about sending to their farm an email this week because it's done. You know, they scheduled it the first of the month, and 3 months later it's still activated. So
Yeah, that actually brings up another thought that I think I know that you do. Your strategy around how you devote time to email marketing. Um, I seem to recall you've told me once that you pretty much come in at the beginning of the month
yeah.
and load everything up. So can you tell us a little bit more about your strategy and how that's helped you keep organized?
Yeah, so yeah, like exactly what you said. I prefer to create all my emails for the week and sometimes longer for the month, for the next month, all in one sitting. And I do this on Sundays. It's like that. I just set it and forget it. So for example, suppose I do have a new listing coming up, right? And I want to blast that to my entire database. Well, in that case, I'll create a campaign where the initial email that just listed will execute Monday morning when the listing goes live on the MLS.
Mhm.
Then I'll have another condition to send the email again in 3 days to the recipients who have not opened the email. Okay, so email number one is just listed, whatever, whatever, 123 Main Street. 3 days later, I'm going to have a condition to the recipients who do not open the email, exactly what you're doing on the screen. This is literally what I do Sunday morning with my coffee, doing my emails for them for the week, exactly what you're doing. So I have a condition where if they do not open it, they're going to get it again in 3 days. Okay. Now, because this is a just listed email, I'm going to grab the featured tab, right? The featured panel. It's one listing. So what I do then is I'll have another condition where the recipients who engage with the property,
Mhm.
yes, the people exactly who engage with the property, um, they're going to get a follow-up email, doesn't matter when, let's say 3, 4 days later. And that follow-up email is very basic. It's just asking them if they are interested or know of anyone who'd be interested in the subject property. Okay. And yeah, you just literally did it while I was talking about it. That's exactly what I do Sunday morning. Now, when you guys are creating this, you can just picture me creating this email on Sundays.
We'll all grab a little coffee
Grab a
together
little coffee,
and
yeah.
build our active pipe campaigns together. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's really smart though, because I think some agents, like struggle to remember even to make use of this, right? And so if you just set like a certain time and you do it all at one time too. I have some folks who will also do this, like if they want to schedule holiday campaigns,
Mm-hmm.
you know, happy holidays or happy Mother's Day, whatever it may be. They'll go in and they'll schedule like 6 months worth,
Yeah,
you know, and
yeah,
because you can use a scheduler, you can set it up for December 24th
yeah.
today if you wanted to. So I think that's really smart to just knock it out in one shot if you can.
Yeah, especially the holidays. I mean, you can literally do the whole year, the whole calendar year, you know. I mean, literally, within an hour, let's say, you can just set it all up. Every holiday, you can just knock it out in one day.
Mhm.
I think that's actually a brilliant idea. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, if you are in the audience and you have any questions, feel free to pop them into the chat, and we'll have David answer those for you.
Okay.
In the meantime, David, if
Mm-hmm.
you had any advice for someone who's getting started with their email marketing, or maybe someone who's been doing email marketing for a while, but they want to change things up, what would be your top advice?
Okay. Great question. Um, One, like I said earlier, just be patient with yourself. If you're new, just play with it. ActivePipe is so great in uh you can't ActivePipe does a great job avoiding accidentally sending an email, right? So you basically can't accidentally send an email because you got to have a subject, you got to save it, you got to click send, you got to choose your contact and then. So play around with it. My other advice is this is for people who are a little bit more experienced. Maybe they've been sending emails and they want to have a better success rate with email marketing. Keep an eye on your metrics.
Mm,
That data is so invaluable. Are people opening more on desktop or mobile? Okay, if you figure that out, you'll know how to format your email. Even though ActivePipe automatically formats it, you can kind of figure out the length of your email because maybe on desktop your email is maybe this long, but when you switch it to mobile, well, maybe now it's this long. Are people going to read that entire email? How engaging is that email? Right? You got to think about these little things. Um, and then, are people unsubscribing more if you send them listings or if you send them a newsletter? Maybe they don't like your newsletters. Maybe they just want listings, or vice versa. Maybe they like the newsletters, but they don't care to receive listings. Maybe they like the information you're providing, and maybe it's not even real estate related. Are you getting more opens at 8 a.m. or are you getting more opens at 8 p.m.? You know, these are all things that you can literally analyze on the metrics tab. So don't stress yourself to know everything right away, of course. And I encourage agents to send different types of emails on different days and different times. And of course, keep in mind that every database is different. So you'll learn your database's behavior over time. So again, it just goes back to just being patient and observing that data. That data is very, very good.
yeah, I try to coach people that it's not just a one-way street; it's a two-way street, and that
Yeah.
you'll be getting a lot of information back from what you're sending out. So pay attention to that information and don't pass it up because that's the whole point of all this. So.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
So we got a question in the chat, which I might be a little bit more logistics based. But the question is, can we go over how we set up that farm listings email again? And I will take this one because it is a little bit more technical. So I'll summarize at least the two main ingredients that you're going to need. So the two main ingredients are that one, you need to make sure that you're pulling in properties from that specific area, right? And then two, you want to be sure that you're sending that to, or most likely you're sending that to contacts in that specific area as well, right? And so for the first part of that, we would pull in a property panel and you could automate this with the property toggle. And then you'll define properties. And then you'll find in the advanced tab that there is an option here to restrict by geographic area. And right now you can restrict by city, zip code. And then for most people, region is going to be county. So that one may or may not be as helpful to you, but city and zip And that's the first ingredient to make sure that you're doing it if you are trying to do this automatically. Now, you also could individually choose each property, but then it's just not going to be automated, right? And so you could also manually select if you want to get it down to like really one subdivision, then you could do it manually like that as well. Then, if you wanted to segment your audience of contacts automatically, you can do that as well. So when you go to send this, if you create a campaign, there is a option here that is if attribute.
Hmm.
And if attribute allows you to say, look at their zip code, and if it is equal to, you name it, then send them the email, right? And so you're targeting it on two different levels. If you have it set up by a tag group, then you would just choose the tag group here. But if you don't, you can geographically winnow down your contact list with that if attribute as well. All right. I don't see many other questions in here coming in, but it's been about half an hour and I've made you talk so much, David. So I really appreciate all your time.
My
Uh,
pleasure. Thank you.
yeah, it's great to be able to hear a little bit direct from the source. So we appreciate you joining us today. And everyone who joined, thanks for being here. And we hope you at least got a little bit of insight and advice out of this. And we'll see you at our next this month at ActivePipe.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
All right. Have a good day.